Hello there everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We are on the Raid Shadow Legends test server once again. Big shout out as always for Plarium for letting me come on to record videos here. I did put up a post on the community tab of my channel, by the way, just yesterday, I don't know, over the weekend. But basically, if you guys want to let me know on that, I was just asking you what other sorts of videos you'd like to see from the test server. That is still an open question. I think it's open for about 4 more days. So I do have some time to jump on, record some more test server footage. Already got some good ideas from it, but if you want to get any of your ideas in there, you still do have a chance. Right though, let's look at this. Duedan the Runic. Why are we doing a video on him? Well, you may have heard, you may be watching this video because, in fact, you've seen it in game. He is going to be a guaranteed champion for 40 Ancient Shards on Tuesday, the 8th of November. Is he a good champion? Is he worth it? We're going to check that out today. I can tell you right now, I've done some initial testing and it's actually really impressed me. I still sort of stand by what I was saying before. I'm not very keen on epics being guaranteed. They tend to be quite expensive. But this guy I thought was actually really good. Let's see what he's got going on. So let's start with his A3, Lure of Fools. This books to a 3-turn cooldown, puts Taunt on this champion for 1 turn. This is the new buff. It's only on for 1 turn. You cannot extend it or anything like that. It's only going to last a maximum of 1 turn. And basically, it's sort of a bit like Provoke. Maybe the most clear way to explain it, it's very like Ultimate Death Knight's passive. That's something you guys will be familiar with. Enemies that use single target attacks will have to target Duodan. It's that simple. They can use other attacks. They can use their AoEs. They can use their other skills. No problem. But so long as he has the taunt buff on and they try to use a single target ability, they will have to choose him as the target. So it's not very often, but we'll see how does it actually work in practice. Is it any use? Let's see. On the Hydra, we're going to see all sorts of things. Also put strengthen and counterattack on this champion for 2 turns. Now, this is actually really good. I think, you can see the taunt to go, taunt for 1 turn, is that good? And then you forget how good strengthen and counterattack are. These are absolutely fantastic, and especially because his A1 is very good. Lodestone Claw, attacks 1 enemy, 50, that books to a 60% chance of removing a random debuff from all allies. From my testing, it seems like he just rolls he checks the 60% on each individual ally, so he can potentially cleanse multiple people, just a couple, whatever. This is great. This is a really good move, and he should be, in theory, actually getting lots of cleanses out against bosses that are going to hit us a lot. We're going to try Ice Golem. We're going to try the Iron Twins, Hydra. He can potentially be really useful for cleansing our team. We'll see that in action. And then Protector Effigy, his A2, does have a 4-turn cooldown, so it's hefty enough. It's an AoE attack. None of his damage is good. Puts a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 15%, this champion's max HP, and increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. I think this is a really nice ability as well. It's going to really help him to maintain strengthen and counterattack on himself nearly all the time. The shield isn't massive, but it's really not bad. So yeah, I think it's a good skill set. 20% defense aura in all battles. Pretty rubbish though. That's nothing to write home about. I do actually have him 1-star awakened. I gave him commanding presence. I think this is his go-to. It's going to give him HP, resistance, and speed. He doesn't need any accuracy. These are the 3 stats that he wants, pretty much. So I think this is perfect. And just make your team's aura stronger. You're not going to use his aura. You're going to be looking for something better, and he can make whatever aura you choose better again. So this is what I'd probably be running him with. In terms of how I built him out, a little bit limited here because I don't have, remember, attack. Attack does nothing for him, but all my other banners are on the test server. All the other banners I have here are actually accuracy banners, which also does nothing for him. So I don't have any really good banners, unfortunately, which made the build a little bit difficult. What I've tried to do is to, and you can see we've got masteries boosting this up as well. I'll show you them in a second. Trying to build his HP as high as I can, give him a solid chunk of defense, a decent chunk of speed. It's not that important, actually. You could actually have him slower. It's just the gear I have happen to have quite a decent chunk of speed, and then lots of resistance. So those are like the main stats: resistance, HP, bit of speed, and a bit of defense. Those are the stats, and we don't care about anything else. Doesn't do any damage, doesn't need accuracy. So yeah, that's basically what we were trying to do with limited gear. And I've also put him into a Guardian set. It's going to do a bit more damage reduction for the team, building into this idea of being the ultimate tank and trying to keep our team alive, healing him every turn as well. I think that's going to be really good too, just to, you know, try to keep him topped up. I think it's going to be quite nifty. He's going to be very tanky because he just won't be really debuffed with this resistance. See this weapon here, again, this had lots of speed. We've got a helmet, lots of resistance and speed and some HP. Again, we're missing a bit of HP percent gloves there. We do have a resistance chest and speed boots. Again, what I'd actually do with this particular build, I probably, if I could get him in a resistance banner, we could put him in a HP percentage chest and really make his HP much bigger. HP ring, it's the best we've got. Got a defense necklace. Again, it's the best we've got. Ultimately, probably both of these would be, you know, 6-star HP or defense with resistance on the ring, the necklace, and HP percent, defense percent on it. You know, you get the gist. For his masteries, I did try him 2 different ways. So we'll compare. I did try him with War Master, and he's okay, right? Because he's counterattacking. He has an AoE, albeit on a 4-turn cooldown. So War Master's okay. But I just sent him down this way. Again, the concept being ultimate tank. So more resistance, right? Less damage from AoEs, more self-healing and more shields for himself. Chance to remove a debuff if he does get hit hard. That's mostly to get over here, taking less damage, stacking up. Actually getting more resistance for each buff placed on them. He puts a bunch of buffs on himself, giving himself more resistance, helping him to Mischief tank. And then a chance to counterattack when he gets hit hard. And then I actually really like deterrence for Hydra. When someone gets true feared, he's got a chance to counterattack, and his A1 can then remove that true fear. We'll see how it works out. Resistance here. You could also grab him Bulwark. I think it'd be really good too. If he's got plenty of resistance, I think Bulwark would be nice, just to help the team stay alive. And then more HP. Make his shield stronger. Give him turn meter when his buffs expire. He's got quite a few buffs. Again, make his shield and his self-healing a bit stronger from his set when his when HP is low. Chance to cool down some skills, and then just extending the buffs a little bit, right? Just making that counterattack even more consistent. And there we go. That is the build, and I've been really impressed. Let's dive in. So I've done 3 runs of this already. Let's dive in. And I'll show you the team. So what we've got going on here, we do have Mithrala Lifebane in the lead. She is giving us an accuracy aura, making sure we can debuff the boss. We've got Geomancer, it's actually really fast and very high accuracy. He's putting the burn on to reflect the damage. And here we can actually see the counterattack buff has gone on. I think Duodan's actually really nice in this. So here we go. He actually goes in the A1. So we do have decreased accuracy on this boss at this point. And there's the shield. Fantastic. But I think it's really nifty, right? Whenever he comes in and he does land some debuffs, here we go. He gets to A1 and he's a chance to remove them. He didn't remove it there. It's not 100%, but every time this boss smacks us, it's just a chance to cleanse those buffs off, which I think is very, very helpful. The debuffs off, which is very helpful. The rest of the team, we also have got Godseeker for revive, more healing, even more buff extension. You can see we've got really good coverage of our buffs. They're on for so long now because we've got the buff extension from Godseeker and buff extension from Duodan as well. And yeah, here we go. We got some debuffs out. Oh man, he doesn't want to do it, right? He doesn't want to actually cleanse. On the testing, he was cleansing all the time. He was being absolutely amazing. But it's just that sort of extra cleanse to go alongside the Mithrala. Which is just awesome, right? It's very, very helpful. And not having him War Master also makes this more consistent. It makes it more likely that we'll just bypass these thresholds with the Geomancer reflection with the burn. And that we won't actually trigger these thresholds. It's going pretty well so far. We've got poisons and burns out. We'll see how it goes. So bam, the hits come in. And there we go. He removed a debuff. Not the one we wanted. The decreased crit rate's not a big deal, but it's quite helpful. We've got good resistance on the rest of our team, and with decreased accuracy from Champfort, you know, we're not getting debuffed too much, but he can AoE cleanse every single time he does that counterattack, which is cool. It has fallen off at this point. I think, yeah, he's going to put it right back on. Taunt, obviously here, not doing anything. They see right there, really nice. Decreased defense on Geomancer. He cleansed it off. We do have decreased defense on Godseeker. He's going to come around. He's going to give us a bit of a shield, extend those buffs. So we're getting smacked a little bit. He's going to go in, remove the decreased defense, right? It didn't matter because Mithrala removed it right after, but I think he's nice in this team. He's giving you what you need. Some cleansing. He's giving you, just nice bit of cleansing, a shield, extending your buffs, giving you better coverage. Hey, cool. It's a pity we're on the test server, but there we go. I thought he's actually pretty awesome. He does no damage with this build, nothing. But with a Guardian set as well, if you could put him with Bulwark, that would be even better, I would say. Just helping you stay alive, and he works great. I think he works great in this comp. Yeah, I thought he was solid. Again, you know, you could use other champions. Sure, he's not essential, but I thought that he worked pretty well. Let's go into Ice Golem 25. So we actually used this team, this exact team. We're going to click start because it's a long enough run. We used this exact team for showcasing the legendary dude in the faction. What's his name? Ruark the something. Ruark the not very impressive, unfortunately. Definitely an underwhelming legendary overall. With this team, what do we have going on? We have ourselves, I would say, a very accessible overall team for people that have been playing for a little while, right? We've got Moranix and Uko, two very recent fusions, Arbiter, you know, your mission reward champ, and then Deliana. If you were playing when Deliana came out, you're probably at the point where you were able to grab Moranix and Uko if you wanted. And yeah, so I think it's an interesting team. What we basically, the way it works, we have the HP aura from Deliana. We're making that slightly better with the commanding presence from our boy Ruden. I forgot his name already. Ruden. He's making that aura a bit better. She's a fun passive that will pop and give us strengthen if she drops low, and she's giving us lots of healing, AoE damage, and putting out the leech. We have Mighty Uko giving us AoE decrease attack, also going to be putting out AoE decrease accuracy, giving us speed and giving us a backup revive. Also, as you can see, stealing some of these buffs. Here we go. So we actually have the taunt on. We can maybe now see taunt. We might be a bit too quick, but look at this, the taunt. They are forced to attack him. And this is where things can get really good, because every time they attack him, because he's got counterattack as well, it's giving us a chance to cleanse. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter. You can see these AoE attacks, they're going off all the same. Here we go. Now we've got weaken on a couple of our different members. So this is where he comes in. He's removed weaken from one of them. You know, it's not bad. But the next time that an AoE attack goes out, he is going to counterattack and, yeah, fix that up. Moranix is doing all the damage. She brings decreased defense. She brings AoE Hex. And she brings us good damage as well. And Arbiter is giving us increased attack. So Moranix can actually hit hard and just making us run a little bit faster. So as you can see, the taunt is not up all the time. It's not super consistent, and that's partially because I do have him running quite quick. There he goes again with his counterattack, reflecting some of that, which is pretty cool. Oh, look at that. Like we actually just outran Seeker. But as part of why I like the Guardian set on him is to buff up that sort of survivability aspect, that protective aspect that he's got going on. So we're going to get through these waves in about 2 minutes. We're on to the boss, and this is the real test. And this is where I actually really like him, right? Especially full auto. This is stage 25, because when this boss does his counterattack, he can come in here and he has a chance to freeze us, and that can really mess you up. That is where that counterattack that can remove debuffs can be so clutch. The boss smacks us, half the team gets frozen, and Duodan just comes in and rips it right off. So here we go. We've got heal reduction on Moranix, disaster, that's certain death. He just removed it with his counterattack A1. Very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. And now we can start to heal up with these leeches and stuff. Again, we can see we've got a bunch of really nasty debuffs out there. She might just die with the oh no, she's got unkillable on herself now. He goes in with the A1, and look at that, beautiful. Bam, big hit comes in, counterattack, and removes that decreased defense from Arbiter. This is where, this has been the best showcase so far of what he can do, where I think he actually has been very, very helpful. Really helpful, cleansing a lot of these debuffs off, helping this team stay alive. He's extending these buffs, really keeping that increased speed up all the time, giving us a bit of a shield to help us get through. He's got taunt on now, so this enemy, if he gets, yeah, he does get an attack in, and he's forced to attack Duodan, which is very, very helpful. I think that's the one that puts heal reduction. So yeah, that's actually quite nifty. All right, here we go. Let's see. When we get the big counterattack, it should be coming soon. We'll see if he rips it off. Nice healing again coming in from Deliana, helping us stay alive. Add 2 is down. Okay, so this is not going to be too bad, this Frigid Vengeance. It comes in, he smacks. Oh, we didn't get the cleanse, unfortunately. But, you know, when a lot of your teammates, if they do get frozen, there's a good chance he's going to break at least some of them free, and it absolutely can make a difference, which I think is pretty great. You basically get the idea, though. This is how this is going to run. I'll let this one run out. I won't make you watch the whole thing. You get the gist. You get what he can do. I think he's a good, solid support for this. Be back at the end. I missed the pause. I forgot I need to pause. I was distracted. I was thinking about what I was going to do now. Oh, here we go. Perfect showcase. Well, hey, he cleansed it. Cool. And again, the Guardian said helping people stay alive. Awesome. Scary stuff. We probably will lose Arbiter. This is actually... Man, I wanted to stop it right at the wrong moment. That's a bit unlucky. Oh, he's just not cleansing it off this time. Arbiter Swift Parry actually keeping her alive right there. But yeah, the shield again, gonna help. So there we go. Not too bad. Here's another Frigid Vengeance. See it once again. He's going in. Remove the decreased defense. Love it. All right. I'll be back at the end this time. For real. All right, guys, we get to the end. It's a long run. It's 6 minutes long. It's a big run. You can see the damage numbers here. Maranic's doing the most. Deliana, really good chunk of damage and a good chunk of healing as well. You see the leech effect coming through too. That's from the Deliana. So Duodan, with this particular build, he's not really doing any damage. You give him War Master, it's going to be higher. Maybe he gets about 1 million damage more, something like that. So it's going to make the run a little bit faster, but maybe a bit more inconsistent. You give him Bulwark instead of the resistance. Like, he's got too much resistance for stage 25. He doesn't need what we have him with, almost 500 resistance. That's for Hydra. He doesn't need that much for stage 25. Like 300, 350 is more than enough. 300 would be plenty, really, for this stage. So you could give him Bulwark to try keep the team alive, mix the build up a bit. But I thought, again, he's pretty solid. He's pretty damn solid. A useful epic, for sure. Really not bad. He'd have the very similar performance, by the way, I think, in Faction Wars, though that's about 6 months away. So you don't need to stay up. Don't need to, keep yourself up at night wondering or worrying. Don't worry about it. It's a long way off. But when it does come around, I think he's going to be very good for it. I think he's going to be very good. So let's go into this, guys. Here we go. We do need a Provoke. There we go. We got lucky, the Provoke set from Nekmothar. So this is a team I thought would be fun to run. It's going to, we'll have to go a little bit into the run before we see the Head of Mischief and we see how this is going to work. But there we go. We can see Duodan go in. He's put the taunt on. More importantly, he has gone and he's put in the counterattack on himself, which is going to be more useful. The problem with taunt in Hydra is that taunt gets bypassed by attacks with special conditions. So I think a great example, we actually saw it happen if you're paying close attention. The A1 here from the Head of Decay attacks the enemy with the lowest HP. All right, now that will override the taunt. Even if he has taunt on, it doesn't matter. It's always going to single target hit the enemy with the lowest HP. I think that what happened right there was Nekmothar had the lowest HP and it hit him, not Duodan. So that's definitely a downside. And that's going to be a bummer, just no matter what happens. But what makes him good here is, look, we've got all these AoE heads. We've got, AoE Weaken coming from Head of Suffering. We've got Provokes here. We've got Provokes here. We've got loads of poisons. We have this heal reduction. What Duodan can do is whenever these AoE hits come in, and a lot of these heads are always or only AoE hitting, he is going to counterattack, and he is going to help to remove and keep those buffs down. So we'll see how it goes here. Let's pay a little bit of attention. He's put his buffs back on. Bam, he goes in. And you can see he's cleansed off some of those poisons. Not all of them. Not everything, but a good chunk. Right. Let's target this because Whisper's AI is not smart enough to always attack the decapitated head. Let's beat on this decapitated head. See what sort of damage we can get out. We got a burnout. Fantastic. There he goes in. Again, A1. And you can see all that remove buff or remove debuff text popping up. Really good. He goes in again. Look at that. Remove debuff. He is just stripping off these poisons and saving us a lot of damage. He's doing work in keeping us standing here, which is quite useful, actually. Again, he goes in again. It's by proxy. It's a lot of healing. It can be very good. Now, we don't have the two heads we really want to see, which are, of course, the Head of Mischief. There he goes. Again, removing those debuffs. Fantastic. Gives us a shield. Brilliant. Extending our own buffs as well. Really useful. That buff extension is going to help that Perfect Veil stay on as many people as possible with Rector Drath, right? It's difficult to keep Perfect Veil up all the time. That buff extension he brings in is going to be very helpful. But that's good. We're waiting for Head of Torment and Head of Mischief. These are the two heads we want to see. But you can basically see how this team works. Look at that A1. Floomp. Basically a Doom Priest-esque cleanse there for the whole team. It was a thing of beauty. Let's see which head is going to spawn back in. We're close to killing a couple more, so we don't need to worry too much. I see we did actually get one cleanse off. That's okay. Oh, okay, perfect. So here we go. Potentially a an annoying situation. Ooh, big hit comes in from Wrath. He's got his block debuffs on. That could be quite nasty. Hopefully we can pick things back up. Let's see how we go. We've got the revive, good, but we're all very low. Oof, that is bad. Big smack, actually, coming in right there. That really did not go well for us. This might be an actual white run. I think we're going to have to rerun this one, unfortunately. That's a bit of a weak... Yeah, that's definitely... We're going to have to rerun it. Free regroup. Let's go again. Unfortunately, we are a bit squishy. Michinaki and Ugo are good affinity for the Head of Wrath, but... Ooh, right, let's run it again. Let me see if we can get back to that head. So this is clearly not a 100% team. We're running a little bit squishy. We got a little bit unlucky with the cleanse and that head popping off when he did. Let's get back. I'll be back when we get to one of those other heads. Be right back. Okay, round 2. I was leaning back in my chair. Here we go. Head of Mischief has just popped in. So this is where things get really interesting because Head of Mischief, again, attacks the enemy with the most buffs. So the way that this works, that overrides Taunt. So it's not going to help. However, that being said, Taunt is not going to force Head of Mischief to target you, but it is nonetheless, it is an extra buff. And that will count towards the most buffs. So that is kind of useful. On top of the fact, in this team, part of the reason why we wiped as well, guys, is that we don't have Strengthen for anyone else in the team. We don't have AoE Strengthen. We obviously don't have another counter attack. So we don't have those things in there. He has the most buff. So here we go. Head of Mischief is most of the time going to target him. Not every single time, but I do think that most of the time we should be pretty successful in having him be the one targeted by Mischief. Now we've got block buffs out there as well to help. Look at that whatever debuff we cleansed off. I can't remember what it was, but it was a bad one. So cleansing that off was pretty good. There we go. We can see that Whisper, her A2 for whatever reason, targets something different. And it's really good to have a Mischief tank like this who's giving himself these extra buffs. That is really useful when you've got someone with self buffs like Whisper in there, just to ensure that most of the time it's going to target him. You can see it's going to fall off right now. Whisper does have the most. It's not perfect. The reason it's not perfect is that unfortunately his own buff extension to make this stuff as consistent as possible, it doesn't quite... It actually worked this time he was targeted, but because that's not on a 3-turn cooldown, it just doesn't always line up perfectly. If it was a 3-turn cooldown buff extension, he'd be so consistent as a Mischief tank. So I do think it is important to have a block buff champion out there to make it consistent. But here he goes, he's buffed up, and now he is the one with the most. He's going to go in counterattack, strips off that weaken, which is definitely going to play an important role in keeping us alive. I probably really should be targeting this decapitated head because her A2 hits so hard. Again, that counterattack comes in, and it's just a chance to remove these debuffs, which I think is very, very useful. So I really like him for this. I think he's actually quite solid for Hydra. What we do need to see, you've seen him against Mischief, so Taunt is not going to work by itself, but if you have a team that doesn't have counterattack, which most likely your team doesn't have counterattack, and you also don't have Strengthen, lacking the Strengthen can be a problem. But even with just counterattack alone, he's going to be consistent with keeping... he's going to be a pretty consistent Mischief tank. It's going to be not too bad. Here we go. Luckily, we do have the Hex out there, so we can target this head and easily take it down. No problem. Whisper's just going to rip it apart. There she goes. She's having a great time. Absolutely slamming the damage in on the Head of Mischief. Here we go. Perfect. So here we go. We've got the other head in I really wanted to show, which is the Head of Torment. This head can be a real pain. Because he's going to be coming in and true fearing us all the time. And that's where these really consistent cleanses are hopefully going to make a potentially fairly large difference. We'll see if that ends up being the case here. It's going to be a little bit annoying with that Poison Cloud out at this particular point. But that's okay. Whisper goes in. Big slam. She's actually, again, I've not been targeting these decapitated heads, so we're doing the wrong thing. It's probably going to take a minute or two before they actually go and target this head. There we go. We've got one in. There's another True Fear. He doesn't have his counterattack on right now, but he's going to come back to it in a second. There you go. Counterattack is on. The AoE attack comes in. There's lots of poisons out there, so it's not going to be super consistent here. But I guess it's kind of a little bit of a bad showcase when the Head of Blight is in. It does get in the way. That single cleanse chance that he has is more than likely going to remove one of the poisons. But it can add up. So let's see how it goes here. We're going to see some more True Fears coming in. We're close to the 1 key anyway. He's going to give us a nice shield. That's going to be helpful. Try to keep us alive. Keep us in the game. Let's see what we can have happen. We got block buffs up on the Head of Wrath, so we're feeling pretty confident at this point. Not too worried. Head of Blight comes in. Again, he's going in with that A1. He stripped off some of those debuffs. When I did the testing, we had the Head of Torment, but not the Head of Blight. So that's definitely messed us up a little bit here. But in the testing, when Head of Torment's not there, he's actually very consistent in stripping off the true fears. But Head of Blight being there is a problem because it's so many debuffs. So that really gets in the way. But when you have that perfect scenario, he's going in again with the A1, again removing some of those debuffs. It's not too bad. I mean, bearing in mind in this team with Ugo, Ugo can remove heal reduction and one random debuff. So again, him stripping off some of these extra debuffs is going to help. And you put in Head of Mischief as well, and Head of Mischief constantly attacking him is going to be triggering that cleanse every single time Mischief takes a turn as well, which I think is really useful. Here we go. Again, he's just cleansing. You know, it's small, but it does add up. It's small, but it adds up. We've almost killed off Suffering. That's cool. It's going to give us a nice shield when he dies, which is going to be helpful to survive the Head of Wrath. He's about to pop off any second now. Here we go. Okay, we've got Perfect Veil and a few champions. That's going to help. We get, again, some cleansing. Also going to help a little bit. A little bit. Whisper, she's going in for the kill. She's going in for the kill right now. Here we go. Boom, she gets the kill. Nice big shield just on time. We'll take it. We'll take it, we say. And bam, the hit comes in. It's not that bad. Duodan refreshes the shield, gives us another shield. He's keeping the counterattack on himself. One thing we could do, you know what? Let me actually try kill off the Head of Blight. Let's just target Blight and hopefully kill him. Look at that. Really nice right there. One thing that's really cool with Duodan, a combo that I really like, is that Deterrence Mastery, 20% chance to counterattack. It's small. It is small whenever someone is feared, but if you have, you know, multiple champions hitting Head of Torment and getting True Fear, there's a good chance that he will get around to his to doing his A1 at least once, and then there's a good chance he's going to strip that True Fear off of them. Again, here he's removing some of those debuffs, and there we go, he's removed the True Fear. It's pretty nice. Let's try kill off this head, so we can actually see Head of Torment running properly, and it's going to sync up actually pretty well with the 1 key, which is cool. Whisper is probably going to rip this head apart. That's a nice big hit right there. We are running the Heaven cast Blessing on her, by the way, which you've probably never seen apart from this. And now let's leave them just do whatever they want. Here we go. So that True Fear is out on Whisper. Kind of a pain. We got a True Fear right there as well. I feel like his buffs are quite low, so I'm not sure if he has a counterattack ready to go. He does, and there we go. He removed the True Fear from both of them. We do still have one out there. But nonetheless, you know, it does add up. It really does add up to actually being quite helpful. So I think this guy is actually pretty good, right? When it comes to Hydra, I think Duodan is actually quite good. He's easy enough to build. He's going to provide you a pretty consistent Mischief tank that is actually going to cleanse off a lot of the debuffs. Useful against Head of Blight. Actually, in a way, more useful when Head of Blight isn't there. It can really add up to just a lot of damage overall, a lot of cleansing overall, removing the decreased attack, kind of nifty on your damage dealers on lower difficulties, removing the provokes, removing the True Fears, removing heal reduction with that A1 counterattack is really, really nice. There he goes. He's in again, removing some debuffs. Then he's got the buff extension, which again, if you're running like right here, this could get kind of annoying because we're going in. Here he goes. He's going to get a counterattack. Didn't remove the fear this time. There's a True Fear out there on her. He's not proc deterrence yet, sadly. And Whisper's killing stuff. But every single time it is a chance. He's going in with the A1. He's removed one of the fears. One of them still went through, but you know, it's consistent. There, he just removed some more fears again. I think it's really nice. So yeah, a good, solid champion. He actually is much better than I thought. He impressed me a lot more than I expected to. Yeah, I actually found him to be surprisingly solid. Again, look at that, bam, removing the debuffs. I think he's actually surprisingly solid. I kind of just thought this champ was, you know, decent. Again, like I said, I don't know if I go for him because it's a guaranteed champion. Let's just end the battle right here. It's a guaranteed champion from Ancient Shards. Not a great deal in terms of deals in the game. As we can see in terms of the damage, by the way, Whisper, 7 million. Michinaki really pumps at these lower difficulties. He absolutely is fantastic. Like, that's so impressive to me because Whisper is a really strong damage dealer for hard. I've done videos on Whisper before. Very, very strong damage dealer for hard. The fact that Michinaki has done that much is really impressing me. You see, Duodan, he's not doing anything. Duodan is doing no damage. But this is not important. He's not there for that. I do actually have, let me pause one sec. Okay, we are back. So this was the test run I did. So I did do a test run, and this was with him with War Master. So you can sort of see the difference here. That again, Whisper, Michinaki, the same sort of damage breakdown, similar stuff. You can see Duodan this time though, he's doing somewhat similar damage to what Ugo did. So if we jump to live game, we can see by taking War Master away from the AoE hits and the counterattacks, he's losing about 1 million damage. Which is fairly significant. You know, it's a good chunk of damage, but I don't think it is essential. You know, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna make or break your key. And I think, you know, building him with enough resistance is obviously crucial to having the composition actually work. He needs enough resistance. For hard Hydra, you need 460 resistance for a dedicated Mischief tank like Duodan. So I think that it's very, it's important to build him with enough resistance. You could then switch it up for War Master if you've got the luxury to. I'm slightly overkill, but if I took my 50 resist away from the mastery, 50 resist away from that would be at 442, which is a little bit low. I'd like to be, you know, 460 to be as consistent really as possible. But there we go. Yeah, look, I think this champ, he's very solid. If I was to give him a vote, like campaign, arena, nothing much, like the keeps nothing much, but I do think for Ice Golem's lair, I think he's very good. He'd probably be okay for Fire Knight, but really for Ice Golem, very impressive. I think for Faction Wars, he's likely to be very solid. And then for Iron Twins and for Hydra, very impressive. I do think that Hydra is his best area. I actually think he's extremely, extremely good. I'd give him a 5 for Hydra. I'd probably give him a very solid 4 for Faction Wars. And then for the Ice Golem's peak, again, I'd probably give him a very solid 4, and that's sort of the areas I'd be looking to use him in. And I wouldn't really be that interested in the others. Faction Wars, he's likely to be a 4 or a 5. I'm not sure exactly which. I'm going to say maybe a 4. I don't know that you're going to need to submit these ratings. Absolutely. I don't know that you're going to need to have that much debuff cleansing for Faction Wars, but yeah. Look, Duedan the Runic. Hopefully a pretty damn in-depth showcase. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. I hope you did. Let me know what you think about this champion. I guess the 2 questions. Number 1, what did you think of him? Do you think he's good? Do you think he's bad? Were you impressed? Where would you use him? Do you agree? All that. And then number 2, which is a very distinct and different question, which is, would you go for this guaranteed, or are you going for this guaranteed? Like I said, I've got 2 different answers to them. The first one, I actually think that this is a great epic champion. I think he's really, really solid. I think he's very good, actually. Very, very good. Am I going to go for him as a guaranteed though? For me, that is a no, because I want to be saving up my ancient shards for guaranteed legendaries, for double legendary events. For me, from my account, I'm trying to get as many legendaries as possible. 40 ancients for just an epic, to me, is a really bad deal. Even though this guy is great, he's just a normal epic. I'll get him eventually, probably fairly quickly, you know. So that's sort of my thoughts on it anyway. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.